Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources, articles, research notes, and really pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're digging into Rebecca Yarros' The Last Letter. It's a book that, well, it kept coming up in the material you sent over.
Yeah, absolutely. And our mission here, it's not just to label it romance. We've looked closely at the book, done a full review, and we really want to explore how it's this deeply emotional journey. Think of grief, sacrifice, love, healing. It's all in there.
Okay, let's unpack that. So what kind of book is The Last Letter? What are we walking into here?
Well, genre-wise, it sits in contemporary romance, yeah, but it's got really strong elements of like military fiction and emotional drama. It came out February 26, 2019. It's not short, around 430 pages or so. And our review, it landed at a solid 5 out of 5 stars, mostly because of that emotional depth, you know, and just the storytelling itself. At its core, it's about these two pen pals. Ella, she's a single mom, and her daughter's really sick. She's fighting for her life. And then there's Beckett, call sign Chaos. He's a soldier deployed overseas, and he promises his best friend he'll look out for Ella.
Just look out for her.
Well, that's how it starts. But that promise, it really spirals. Tragedy hits. Beckett comes home carrying this massive weight of guilt and a secret. And then he finds himself possibly being Ella's, last hope. But falling for her, it could cost him pretty much everything.
Wow. So it starts maybe like a sweet military romance, but then it just transforms, doesn't it, into something much bigger about love, loss, family, and that healing piece you mentioned.
Exactly. It goes deep.
So how does the story actually begin? We meet Ella. Tell us about her situation.
Right. So Ella's life is, well, it's intense. She's running the family business, raising twins, Maisie and Colton, all by herself. And her own twin brother, Ryan, he's the soldier who's deployed. He's the one who asks his best friend, Beckett, to write to Ella.
Anonymously, though. Anonymously.
Yeah, just to give her someone to talk to, you know? Someone outside her immediate stress bubble. A bit of an outlet.
Gotcha. And that's where the letters start.
That's it. And this is where you get that epistolary thing, the story unfolding through their letters. It's really key. Their connection through writing becomes incredibly strong, really intimate. But then, the tragedy happens. Ryan dies in combat.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So Beckett comes home, he's grieving Ryan, he's conflicted, and he's hiding this huge secret about how Ryan died. And he's still anonymous to Ella as her pen pal. He just shows up on her doorstep, not as the guy she's been falling for in letters, but as someone else, someone trying to keep a promise.
Oh, that's rough. The potential for misunderstanding there is huge.
Totally. And that sets up the whole journey, right? Grief, forgiveness. Can love actually survive when it's tangled up with lies and secrets and just unbearable loss?
And Yarros' writing style, how does she handle all that?
People describe it as raw, poetic, really immersive emotionally. She manages this vulnerability, this sincerity that somehow avoids being overly dramatic, which is hard given the subject matter.
Like, because it could easily tip into melodrama with themes like these.
Yeah.
How does she keep it feeling real?
I think a big part is the dual POV. Getting chapters from both Beckett's and Ella's perspectives, it lets you feel their individual struggles, their pain right alongside them, makes their reactions feel earned, authentic. And those letters, that epistolary element, building intimacy through words first, creates this really solid emotional ground before they even meet properly.
That makes sense. It anchors it.
Yeah, and the overall tone, it's definitely bittersweet, it's poignant, but underneath it all, there's this thread of hope. She tackles really heavy stuff, grief, PTSD, cancer, guilt, but with this realism and empathy that just connects. She doesn't sugarcoat it.
Thinking about Ella, the sheer amount she's juggling, it's almost overwhelming just reading about it. How does Yarros make her and Beckett, too, feel so human, despite these huge circumstances?
Yeah. That's such a good point. It really comes down to the character crafting. Ella Mackenzie, she is absolutely the heart of this book. Single mom, daughter fighting cancer, brother deployed, no partner. The stress is off the charts. But her strength is just breathtaking. And yet, she's also so vulnerable. Not perfect, fiercely human. Her choices, especially around trust and forgiveness, they feel so real. She's incredibly compelling.
And Beckett, chaos.
Yeah.
It sounds complex.
Oh, he is. Beautifully broken is a good way to put it. His grief over Ryan is all tangled up with guilt, survivor's shame, and this deep, deep need to keep his promise. He's walking this tightrope between duty and deception. He loves Ella, but the secret he's hiding, it just gets heavier and heavier. That internal conflict makes him so relatable, so empathetic, even when you kind of want to shake him sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine. And the kids. Maisie fighting cancer and her brother Colton. You mentioned them earlier.
Can't forget the kids. Maisie especially, she feels like the soul of the book, really. There's this wisdom and innocence about her, and this incredible strength despite everything she's going through. It's heartbreaking, but also so inspiring. They aren't just plot devices. They are absolutely central to the emotional core, you know? They force the adults to confront things.
Right. Their perspective changes everything.
It does, and what's fascinating, too, is just how layered the themes are. It really pushes beyond standard romance. First, you've got grief and war. It is a military romance, but it doesn't glorify combat at all, not one bit. It's all about the emotional fallout for the soldiers coming home, carrying those invisible wounds, and for the families left behind. It's about that lingering grief and how love tries to survive it.
A really important perspective.
Definitely. Then there's a love through letters aspect. That pen pal thing, it works perfectly here. It builds this amazing emotional intimacy that's like separate from physical attraction initially. But it also creates the central dilemma, right? Can love built on that kind of raw honesty survive when it started anonymously and now has to face hidden truths?
Yeah, that's a killer question.
It really is. And of course, illness and mortality. Maisie's cancer. It's not background noise. It is front and center. It's raw. Yarros doesn't shy away from the reality of a parent fighting for their child's life. The fear, the exhaustion, the medical stuff, it feels incredibly real. It makes you confront mortality. Yeah. And tying it all together is forgiveness and healing. The whole book is kind of a lesson in forgiveness. Can you forgive someone who hurt you deeply, even if they didn't mean to? Can you forgive yourself? Those are huge questions it explores.
Okay, so fair warning to everyone listening. This book will probably break your heart. Like, seriously. Ugly crying potential is high. It deals with death, terminal illness, war trauma, really unflinchingly. You should probably expect to cry. Yeah. Multiple times. How many tissues are we talking here?
Let's just say maybe invest in a family pack beforehand. But seriously, the tears feel earned. They come because you genuinely connect with these characters. Yarros makes you feel their pain. You don't just read about it. It's definitely not a light, fluffy read. It's intense, but it's also really cathartic, you know? Working through that darkness with them is powerful. It gets into the messy stuff of being human.
So summing up what makes The Last Letter work so well, what are the absolute standouts?
Okay, number one, the characters. Complex, emotionally rich, they just feel real. Number two, that letter writing format, it creates such a unique intimacy. 3, the emotional journey itself. It's powerful, transformative. Also, the portrayal of single parenthood and Maisie's illness handled with such sensitivity and realism. Plus, the depiction of trauma and military life feels authentic, not glossed over. And the ending. It's bittersweet, yes, but it feels earned and it leaves you with hope.
All right, but let's be balanced. Any potential critiques? Where might some readers maybe stumble?
Well, as we said, the sheer emotional weight could be overwhelming for some. It is relentlessly sad in places. Also, the big twist, without giving anything away, a few readers might find it feels a touch manipulative, or maybe the timing is a little too neat. And possibly Ella's reaction to certain truths later on, some might feel it's a bit abrupt, or maybe she forgives a little too quickly, perhaps.
Yeah, that kind of reaction can be subjective, can't it?
Exactly. And really, if you go in expecting a light, escapist romance, this just isn't it. It demands more from you emotionally.
Okay, so bringing it all together, what's the final verdict on The Last Letter? We landed on a 5 out of 5, right?
Absolutely, a full 5/5.
And if I had to boil it down to 3 words, I'd say heartbreaking, healing, haunting.
That sums it up perfectly. The Last Letter is just, it's one of those stories that sticks with you. It's about way more than just falling in love. It's about surviving grief, parenting through utter chaos, and loving someone, scars and all. Maybe because of the scars, even. It almost feels like a letter, the book itself, to anyone who's felt broken by loss and wondered if love could ever find them again.
So who should pick this up?
Definitely fans of writers like Colleen Hoover, Nicholas Sparks, maybe Mia Sheridan authors who aren't afraid to dig into heavy emotions. Readers who love character-driven stories that really make you feel something deep. Anyone who appreciates military themes done well or enjoys stories told partly through letters. And honestly, anyone who's ready for a good cry that ultimately feels cleansing and gives you a richer sense of what love can mean.
It definitely leaves you thinking. Which brings me to a final thought for you, our listener, to mull over. How do raw honesty and, well, hidden truth actually shape love and healing? Especially when everything grows out of the most tragic kinds of circumstances. Something to consider. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
If you found this useful, please do like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.